Today we're doing a review of the Rushfaster EDC Pro backpack. In this video, I'm gonna take my experience of reviewing 500 plus of the world's best bags, and we're gonna tear this thing apart. I'm gonna pack it out, double check the stated capacity, give you my honest pros and cons, and if you're not quite sold this is the backpack for you, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video, where I'll make some alternative bag suggestions that are gonna be a little bit different, but similar, so you can find the best bag that suits your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Rushfaster EDC Pro backpack. Rushfaster is an Australian-based carry brand, and they're very interesting because they review bags, they sell bags on their own retail store, and they launch their own bag line. And I've been carrying this backpack around as my EDC for the past few days, and I'm really impressed with it in a lot of ways, minus a few caveats. But let's start by talking about some of its top features. It's got a very casual and drapey aesthetic, kind of like a Jan Sport, like brought into the future a little bit. We've got a front admin compartment here with a bit of organization, 2 external water bottle pockets, back access to the main compartment that also has a bit of organization and the tech sleeve, a quick access top pocket, and a harness system that I both really enjoyed and didn't at the same time. I'll talk about that in a bit more detail 3 chapters from now. As of recording, the Rushfaster EDC Pro comes in 3 color options. Now let's talk about the size. The bag is advertised at 26 liters, but it definitely felt a bit smaller to me. So let's give it a little test. All right, you can see we filled up the main compartment to the top. We still got this admin pocket, which definitely has some capacity in itself. All right, you can see it's fully packed out. Let's measure the dimensions real fast. We got a height of just under 18 inches, a width of just under 12 inches, and a fully packed out depth of around 9 inches. Let's test out the volume. I think I got them all. You can see we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 liters basically on the dot. For the weight of the bag, we're clocking in at 2.2 pounds. And that didn't take into consideration dual water bottle pockets on the side, a little bit of space that we had at the top with this pocket here. And if I can quickly rant on that, well, that's surprising. I thought this thing would have been like 22 liters, but I think that's a testament to what kind of like an old school, non-padded, non-structured bag feels like. Because a lot of us in the carry community are used to like these bags that are really padded and they can self-stand like a champ and they got like extra reinforcement, but they just feel bulky. A bag like this sort of like compresses into itself a little bit, therefore feeling smaller when you're wearing it, but also having the ability to expand when you need that extra space. Love that. This is what the Rushfaster EDC Pro looks like when it's empty. And this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomads Nation squad. For your reference, I'm 5'8", and our media manager, Margaret, is 5'2". And don't worry, we're gonna pack out the bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. All Rushfaster bags are protected by a 3-year warranty against manufacturing defects. And for all that, this bag runs around 250 USD. And if at any point during this review you're thinking about making a purchase or you just want to find out more information, we highly suggest doing so using the first link in the description. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel and team so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the front of the Rushfaster EDC backpack. Now first up, let's talk about the aesthetic. And I have a packing cube here for a reason, because I want to talk about something with the aesthetic, and I just mentioned it. Like, it's a bag that doesn't really keep any of its structure, which means it can kind of not look great or sort of collapse into itself when it's not fully packed out. This again, you know, the list of the pros and cons of a non-structured bag. I'm sure there's still some padding in here. You might have some EVA foam, but it's definitely a bag that looks a bit sharper when it's got some body to it. But overall, our media manager, Margaret, and myself, when we pulled this thing out of the box, we both liked it. We were both like, whoa. I think Rushfaster did a really good job of bringing something new to the table. I could see Margaret behind the camera. She's like, yep, it do. I do think the logo might be a little loud on the green version for some, and it kind of gives the bag a bit of sportiness, but overall I'm a big fan of the look, especially with the green version. And one thing contributing to that look is the primary fabric, and this is a 420D Cordura nylon. This nylon is gonna be weatherproof, abrasion resistant, and it's got a gorgeous little sheen to it. I'm not gonna lie, 420D nylon is the perfect material for a backpack, which is why I'm kind of bored of it. A lot of bags do it. Seen it just done so many freaking times. But I think Rushfaster kind of brought their own thing with it, and this particular Cordura, at least the green version, you know, it does got a little shine to it, a little panache. Now you can see right here, we have 1, 2 lash points at the top and 2 at the bottom. This allows you to clip things onto your bag externally, like your own clips, or Rushfaster's cargo pouch, which as you can see right here is just this little pouch. That's quite well designed. It has a front and a back on it, which means you can clip this thing to the front of the bag and carry your helmet, jacket, shoes. Good call, Margaret. Overall though, I'll say not something that I'm crazy about. I think functionally speaking, it definitely adds value to the bag, but I think a lot of what you're getting with the Rushfaster EDC Pro is just like that kind of like JanSport brought into the future, that kind of cool, casual bag that has elevated materials, but then you got this thing on the outside. You know, it works, but definitely something that I wouldn't personally use. But I'm curious about you, like, is this something that like really excites you? A cool looking bag like this that also gives you some access to like a modular ecosystem? Let me know your thoughts on the cargo pouch in the comments below. Now, before we get into the front admin pocket, it should be noted that our 2 primary compartments are protected with PU-coded YKK. I assume they're YKK. Oh, for sure. YKK zips, no problemo. But PU-coated zips could offer a potential problem later down the line, as PU-coated zippers can look like this if they're exposed to a lot of sunlight and or humidity. They can just peel. PU is polyurethane, it's plastic. It's not a guarantee, but at $250, it's something I just like to make sure for you to be aware of. But on the flip side, PU-coated zippers do offer a bit more of a sleek aesthetic and a bit more weather resistance. Now notice here at the bottom of this front compartment, we have this laser cut Hypalon thingy-majogger. I couldn't think of a better word in the moment than a thingy-majogger. What that thingy-majogger does is one of 2 things. Either A, it's going to delight you because you can slide it on through and then give you a bit of a theft deterrence. Or option B, it's going to annoy the living shit out of you because you can't really close the zipper all the way. You've always got this little bit just exposed. But this is always the conversation in the battle of security versus convenience. They never go hand in hand. So I think if you live in a city where theft is a bit more likely to happen, that you'll be very appreciative of a feature like this, but otherwise it might irk you. Admin compartment. Bit of organization, bit of depth as it runs down to here. Let's pack it out. See here, I got a bunch of EDC stuff and still some measurement balls. Go back with your friends, little guy. You're free. Zippered pocket here. We've got a key leash. Really not into this key leash. It's just kind of like this little chode. It's kind of harder to access. Usually I want my keys in a location that's a bit more convenient, but again, convenience versus security. This is definitely a lot more secure. Good spot for my travel adapter slash battery. Zip that in there. Really like this material. It's got a bit of elasticity to it. It's there for a good spot for our Nomadization phone charger. Slide that in there. You can do pens on this side, gum on the other side, AirPods go in here. Here's the thing about this pocket is, again, this is a bag that doesn't have a lot of EVA foam and padding in there to help it stand upright, although it does stand actually kind of well. And what that means is the bag is so drapey and just like beautiful as it dances with you. But this admin compartment doesn't really have anything that's like holding it together. It just feels very sloshy and very like, you can see like this wouldn't happen on an airbag. But an airbag is also like a cardboard box. Like, everything's a pro and a con, right? But that will mean it's just a little bit more difficult to kind of put things away and things might fall out. It's giving you organization, but not in the most optimized form. But one thing that's nice is this pocket does have a bit of depth to it, as you saw with our volume test. So my Sony XM-H5 headphones fit in here ever so nicely, and we're rocking and rolling. Let's keep the momentum going and talk about the middle of the Rushfaster EDC Pro backpack. Starting with the bottom and the self-standing. Now we have a flat bottom, right? You can see right here, very flat with a lash point here in case you need a 5th one. So the bag self-stands kind of well depending on what's in there, because the flat bottom helps any bag self-stand. But if I take out my packing cube, self-standing, no. Then it's like doing front flips at that point. So I give this bag like a 2.5 out of 5 on the self-standing meter rating system that I'm just making up now. Is where if it's packed out, it can self-stand pretty well. For me on the train, wearing this the past few days, I like to kind of take it off my back and put it on the ground, and it self-stood pretty well by itself. Now, one thing I adored about this bag the past few days was these 2 external water bottle pockets. And I love the fabric, the same one that's being used in that front admin compartment. It's got a little stretch to it. It's very thin, it feels great. And it's awesome to have 2 external water bottle holders this time of year, living in Hong Kong, because I can hydrate myself with the heat and protect myself when the monsoon rains hit out of nowhere. We're gonna test out how these fit when the bag is fully packed out in just a second. Before we do that, top handle, I like it. Got a little bit of grabbing room, nicely stitched. Rushfaster did something interesting here where they took this black top handle and then just kind of ran it all the way down with a nylon fabric, just giving the bag a little bit more of an interesting aesthetic. Getting into the main compartment, again, PU-coated YKK zipper with this Hypalon security anti-thief thingamajigger again, which I didn't mind it as much in the front pocket, but I didn't like it as much on the back, and here's why. This thing's not a real clamshell, but I feel like it wants to be. Please, whole life I wanted to be a clamshell. God, what is wrong with me today? But that's stopped for two reasons. One, the zipper does not extend all the way down, but two, these little anti-theft thingamajiggers, the laser cut Hypalon, it's just, again, getting in the way. And I fear this could be a potential breakage point in the bag where eventually you just stress the zipper too much and eventually you're gonna pop this out or just stress it. It's not my favorite design choice of the bag. It's not a travel bag, which is good, but it's still 26 liters and you could travel with it and you really wanna get in there. In the main compartment, we have an air tag holder here, one Darlington mesh pocket there, and then your tech area. A little pocket on the side right here. Let's talk about the laptop protection. I got a cutout of a 16-inch MacBook Pro. I think it'll fit, for sure. As you can see, a 16-inch MacBook Pro fits with plenty of room to spare. I found the tech protection to be very solid. We've got a bit of a false bottom here. The bottom of the tech sleeve stops like right there, so if you drop the bag, actually let's just do it live. Yeah, there's definitely a decent amount of space, padding, everything in between right there, keeping your laptop nice and safe. Got a tablet sleeve right here, which is big enough for our 13-inch iPad. Perfect. Although pen holders can be a little prescriptive on bags, I do love this one. Just go ahead and slide that right in there. That's a nice little sexy touch. Props to the Rushfaster team for that. And then these pockets, great for tech stuff. Throw in my charger, actually. I had it in the front admin compartment, but I'm gonna move it into here now. It's getting a little tight. Got my microphone set up. Yeah, a little snug, but definitely works. And I'll be honest, this bottom zipper, I probably am not gonna use it because here's the deal. I don't usually like organization on this part of my bag. Because the reason being, when the bag's fully packed out, this might all be covered, making it inaccessible, and that can be annoying. Now, Rushfaster did something good where they elevated a lot of the organization. Like, I was very critical about like the Troubadour Apex backpack. You're 100% correct, Margaret. So as Margaret pointed out, this is even better though than the Troubadour, as to where that one, you had to access this tech compartment from like here, which you had all this fabric then getting in the way. So although it's still not my favorite as to where things are going to be interfered with when the bag is fully packed out, I'll show you in a second, it's a lot better than I've seen on a lot of other bags. Went ahead and put a book in the Darlington mesh pocket, battery here, little tripod there. And then for my EDC stuff, we'll do a tech pouch, Switch 2 case, Unbound Merino hoodie. That's what we're dealing with. Back to these guys. I got a 1 liter Yeti, which I think we're gonna fit. Absolutely. This is great. A lot of backpacks can't fit a water bottle that are this girthy, but it's not the most secure water bottle holder. It's good, especially when the bag's more packed out, but as you can see, it's definitely sliding out. But good news is if you want to, you can probably use this external lash point right here to help clip your water bottle in place, keeping it more secure. And yeah, it was just great having 2 water bottle holders because I always have my tea in one and then my umbrella in the other. Easy to access as well. Looks clean, adds to the vibe. I just found it a freaking joy having 2 external pockets on the side like that. Overall, I found this joy a backpack to wear. Now, before we jump into the next section, I gotta tell you that if you're really enjoying this review, you might be smitten to find out that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do bag reviews and gear reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, you can look at me like you're a reporter in the field, where I'm out on just, the front lines, bringing you the hottest news in terms of the newest drops, limited edition collabs, plus you get access to our discount codes and giveaways. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in this incredible community of EDC and travel gear, be sure to look for this globe emoji in the description below. Hope to see you in your inbox. All right, let's talk about the back of the Rushfaster EDC Pro backpack. 2 things I really like about this bag. One is this back zippered pocket. Ideal for these guys, what our friends at Rushfaster might call your sunnies. Fit in there very nicely. I feel very secure with my sunnies in there. I think a pocket like this is just too tight. Like I don't need further organization in here. So that was a little irksome to me, but definitely not a deal breaker. Still a great pocket. Also love this loop right here as to where it's a great way to hang your bag. I'm someone who travels a lot. I would absolutely take a bag like this traveling, as it's just lightweight and like malleable. That's my kind of travel bag. So when you're in that new country and you're at a questionable bathroom, a hook like this can go a long way, just kind of putting it up top and off the floor. A couple things to chat about before we get into the comfort and the harness system. Luggage pass-through. This is gonna be a little bit of a downer for some of y'all out there, as the bag is carried this way on the suitcase and not upright. I do think it's a nice luggage pass-through holder, as to where we have a nice amount of slack to really get it on over the actual handle. But at the end of the day, I'm just a fan of the bag being upright on the backpack and not sideways, especially considering the fact that there's no extra design details to make this a good sideways backpack. You ain't no CPL 24. So I didn't love that. One thing I did love is this hidden back wallet pocket right here. Mainly because of its size, as to where we've got 6 inches to deal with. And actually that can usually be a little small for me, but because of the location where it comes out from the back panel into here, like it just made it a lot more accessible and a lot less tight. Knocked it out of the park with this. It's where it doesn't need that extra height, but I just found it super easy to use. It doesn't add a lot of bulk to the back, and it's great for quick access to your wallet or your passport or your boarding pass if you're traveling with this bag. All right, let's get into the harness system, which is one of my least favorite parts of this bag, at least one specific part. Back panel crushed it for me. You can see right here, super well ventilated. The padding is great. This thing felt great on my back. I just didn't love the shoulder straps. Now be warned, this is just my body. Everyone's body's different, and everyone's preferences for their bodies are different. For me, I am a sucker for shoulder straps that are just marshmallowy. That's the only way to describe my preference for shoulder straps. The more marshmallowy, the better. That means chunky padding, not this sort of denser padding. It's hard to explain. I don't know if you can ever hear it on the microphone when I do it, but just like, this is just a more dense, for lack of a better word, like cardboardy kind of a feel. It's definitely gonna last. It's durable, not like cardboard. But you can see the overall thickness here. We're just dealing with less than a centimeter, which is just not a lot of padding for me personally. Aside from that though, the shoulder straps were nice, as to where we got a bit of a contour to them. The sternum strap, I loved it, easily adjustable. Metal hardware down here gives the bag a bit of a premium feel. And another thing that's important for comfort for me, the dangle has been stopped. Keeping no dangle down a happy camper. Again, I don't wanna say it's an uncomfortable bag, just the lack of like really great or deep marshmallowy shoulder strap padding just means that I'm feeling it a lot more on my traps than I normally would. But again, everybody's body preferences differ, so if you want to hear more than just my opinion on this, let's start a conversation in the comments below. Hopefully anybody who owns this bag can, let us know what they think about the comfort. Or you can check out if there's any conversations happening on the Nomads Nation subreddit. We just launched it recently. We got one of the biggest communities of bag nerds there. And it's a great spot to post your question about this bag or any bags in general. Let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Rushfaster EDC backpack. Pro number 1, I think it's got a great look. Pro number 2 is going to be the innovation and just overall functionality of the external carry, especially with the cargo pouch. And pro number 3, it was really refreshing to find like a modern EDC that had 2 external water bottle holders. I got a ton of use out of them. But on the flip side, every bag has cons, and here are my personal ones for the Rushfaster EDC Pro backpack. Con number 1 is I could have used a bit more padding on the shoulder straps. Con number 2 is gonna be the compromised access to the main compartment, especially with these anti-theft zipper stoppers. And con number 3, for some people, the sideways luggage pass-through holder will be a deal breaker. But if you're still here, there's a good chance that you're thinking to yourself, dude, that bag is awesome. I see no cons, I'm totally gonna buy one. Well, just a reminder, if you're gonna make a purchase, we do request doing so with the first link in the description. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and if we have any discount codes, that's what they'll be. But if you're not quite sold on this being the bag for you, let's talk about some of those alternatives that I teased at the beginning of the video. First up, if you're new to the channel, I highly suggest checking out the Nomads Nation leaderboard video. This is where myself, our media manager Margaret, and the whole Nomads Nation squad, we get together and pick our favorite bags in distinct bag categories. This is a great way for you to see kind of just what the best options are on the market, but most importantly from like different use cases, because everyone uses bags in different ways. But if we're pretty close with the Rushfaster EDC Pro, let me give you 2 alternatives that are right there, but just a little bit different. Alternative suggestion number 1 is Margaret's pick, is the Bellroy Transit Workpack Pro. And it's an amazing bag because unlike the Rushfaster, it's gonna have a lot chunkier shoulder straps and a little bit better access to that main compartment. And alternative recommendation number 2 is gonna be my pick, which is gonna be the Alpaka Bravo 23-liter backpack. Great pick for you if, again, you're kind of looking for that old school, like just casual, Jan sporty looking feel, but you want a little bit better self-standing, a little more padding on the shoulder straps, and it can be carried upright on your suitcase. Honestly, all 3 bags are amazing, but they also have their unique set of pros and cons. And to learn more about the 2 alternatives, just go ahead and watch these videos here. I'm gonna leave them on the screen for a second so you can decide which one interests you most. As a reminder, if you got any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.